Leonardo DiCaprio joins lavish Bezos wedding in Venice, sparking climate hypocrisy debate. In the 2021 satirical disaster film Don't Look Up, Leonardo DiCaprio portrayed a passionate scientist frantically trying to warn humanity about an impending comet that would destroy Earth. The film served as a biting metaphor for the real-world climate crisis, with billionaires, politicians, and media figures ignoring the catastrophic danger for the sake of profit and self-interest. It was a role that resonated with DiCaprio's real-life image as a dedicated environmentalist and climate advocate. But in a jarring twist of reality, over the weekend DiCaprio found himself cast in a much different light. The Oscar-winning actor was spotted in Venice, Italy, attending what many are calling the wedding of the century, the opulent nuptials of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and his fiancée Lauren Sánchez. The celebration spanned 3 to 4 days and reportedly hosted around 200 ultra-wealthy guests, who arrived via more than 90 private jets and superyachts, according to The Guardian. Among those in attendance were tech moguls, celebrities, and global elites. DiCaprio was photographed trying to remain low-key, often seen with his face hidden under a cap or hoodie, perhaps to avoid attention or criticism. But even his attempts to stay under the radar couldn't stop the wave of scrutiny that soon followed. The irony wasn't lost on many observers. The very setting of the wedding, Venice, is a symbol of the climate crisis DiCaprio has long fought against. The iconic city has already sunk roughly 9 inches over the past century and continues to face existential threats from rising sea levels and over-tourism. That a lavish wedding filled with emissions-heavy transportation was hosted there seemed to many like an environmental insult. Protests erupted in Venice's historic St. Mark's Square during the wedding weekend. Greenpeace activists held a massive banner that read, "If you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax." The protest highlighted the disconnect between the ultra-rich's lifestyle and the environmental consequences their actions often worsen. DiCaprio, who has for decades positioned himself as a climate warrior, faced particular backlash for attending the high-carbon event. As a United Nations messenger of peace focused on climate change, he has repeatedly urged world leaders to reduce emissions, stop fossil fuel subsidies, and empower indigenous communities. He has produced and narrated environmental documentaries like Before the Flood and often speaks at major climate conferences. Critics argue that showing up at such an extravagant, environmentally damaging affair contradicts the values he claims to uphold. Social media was quick to point out the stark contrast between DiCaprio's on-screen persona in Don't Look Up, where he railed against complacency in the face of planetary doom, and his real-world actions this past weekend. Don't look up, unless it's to count how many private jets just landed in Venice, one commenter quipped online. The debate brings up an ongoing question. Can celebrity climate advocates maintain their credibility while participating in the lifestyles they claim to oppose? While many celebrities claim to use carbon offsets to mitigate the emissions of their travel, climate scientists argue that offsets are not a replacement for reducing actual consumption and emissions in the first place. To some, DiCaprio's appearance at the wedding is a sign of disillusionment, a reminder that even those who speak passionately about climate change may struggle to separate themselves from the privileges of their social circles. To others, it's a wake-up call. Symbolism and advocacy only go so far if they're not followed by consistent action. Ultimately, Don't Look Up warned us about the dangers of ignoring reality while indulging in luxury and denial. This weekend, that warning hit a little closer to home.